Hello and welcome to this Friday, August 9th, 2019 episode of Apple Sidekick. Now, today's episode, I apologize. Today's episode is about HomePod, AirPod, and Apple Music, how it can transform your life. Now, how can these devices and this service transform your life? Well, the way that your life is transformed is by experiencing music. I've been listening to more music lately, but I hadn't been listening to music lately. It's just been constant learning, because I'm trying to make all these podcasts. I'm trying to be able to provide value in a more structured way in a shorter time period. Instead of having a 45-minute podcast times all these just of me, fumbling around doing research, or, I want to say this or I want to say that. I have my time that I prep, and then I do the podcast. Now, sometimes I'm not as prepped as I would like to be, and I'm working to better improve those processes. That's the thing, as I'm constantly improving. This is something I've been, trying to do for years, and I was just fine. I mean, since 2014, solidly, a solid 5 years, I've been working to try to get this together, and I just haven't been able to pull it together with being able to get the videos on the internet. It is so much work, and you have to have so many different devices. This iPhone didn't exist. Neither of my iPhones exist. I'm using an iPhone 7 Plus that didn't exist, and I'm using a iPhone 10 that didn't exist. I bought a brand new 32 gigabyte iPhone 5S and in 2014, 5 years ago. So that's just to demonstrate the difference. Now I've got 256 gigabyte iPhones, and I've got an iPad, and I use these devices. I've got the Mac that I use, an external monitor, but I have quite a setup now to be able to do these podcasts, and it's not quite right. I still need to get a couple things added in right. So the big thing is constantly improve, constantly work at it. Well, when you're constantly working at it, you're not always thinking about fun. If you work, you got to think about play. So it's live, work, play, love, learn, pay it forward, not work. And that's what I get wrapped up in sometimes, because I've got this mission to get this stuff out, and I have my own needs. Of course, I have my own needs, my own financial needs. This internet is very expensive. It's business class internet. To be able to get Comcast out here when I call, to be able to have the better service, it's 3 times as much, and it's all that they would offer here at the apartment that I'm renting. So I've also got the prototype of the Happy Hero Studio, but it's only one of the units. I need a secondary unit. I've got some needs that I need to do there, but I've gotten so wrapped up in all that, I was not really listening to music. So recently I started listening to music again, and it's been helping me pump up for these videos, for these podcasts, for me to be able to provide more value. Now today, because of this particular episode, it's about HomePod, AirPods, and Apple Music. I said, well, let's check out Apple Music. I started up the service, started up a free trial, and I started listening to music, and I've had the same resource. I've actually had a better resource with YouTube. YouTube is a better resource because it's got more music. Some of the music I looked for wasn't on there. I had to go to YouTube to listen to it. But my point in bringing it up is that so I was in the app, and I started looking toward experiences in my past based on the music. And when the music got into me, it started, and then it starts making me think of the past. It starts reminding me of my own past, my own life. And you've got to think, well, you can take it in a negative way or a positive way. Here's how you take AirPods, HomePod, and Apple Music to transform your life. You get these devices so that you can have the privacy in your own ears at times with AirPods. My wife really needs these because she gets home late at night and she can't go to sleep right away. So she likes to watch movies, and having AirPods would be great. She actually only has one ear, so she only needs one, and then I could listen to one too, and we could share. It's really convenient, and it's actually not even just that. It's actually something that's going to transform her life, and that's a priority for me to get, because she only does have one ear. And sometimes she can't hear very well. To be able to take the iPhone and put it somewhere, or I be able to talk into the iPhone, across the room and stuff like that, and her be able to hear me better because the walls are paper thin and it's just easier to talk through this louder device. It would be wireless. That's it. That's powerful. It's a feature, and it's an accessibility feature that Apple built into the AirPods. And that's how you transform your life, your digital home, your digital lifestyle, because they become part of everything. Television isn't about just the TV on the wall anymore. Television is now about your phone, your iPad, your Mac, all of the screens. Right now, I have 5 screens in front of me, and the iPad's not even in front of me. And I need that. I need all these screens just for my podcast, and I need more. I need to get a new iMac, but I can't afford it yet. That's why I'm doing these, to provide value for you in hopes of returning a fraction of that value. Not just through this, but through Happy Hero Studio, happyherostudio.com to learn more about it. The Happy Hero Studio is going to have 2 HomePods, also a set of AirPods. These are basically Apple studios, and they're Apple design studios. I designed them, I created them, but I'm throwing in so many Apple products. You're getting basically the whole Apple lineup with this studio, and you are then able to create. You're able to create content. You're able to broadcast content. You're going to have the education and coursework, because it's not just a studio space, it's also a studio education. And you're joining a community of people that are working and growing, and we're going to improve the studios. It's not just about the studios. It's actually kind of more of a selfish and selfless reason. My selfish reason is because I have some sort of ego within me that is making me desire, and has made me desire, to become a billionaire. Not a billionaire in the money sense, but a billionaire in the impact a billion lives sense. So I've set all this up to be able to help impact 1 billion lives by helping to feed, house, and empower them to live, work, play, love, learn, and pay it forward. And why? Why would we want those things? We want those things for happiness, health, and selfless abundance. That's my mission, to help feed, house, and empower 1 billion people to live, work, play, love, learn, pay it forward for happiness, health, and selfless abundance by 2049. That's 30 years. my 30-year mission. Right now I'm 32 years old. It's, my life over again. This is my mission, my vision, and the perspective that I'm coming at it is that you can't just work, work, work. You've got to have play. And Steve Jobs was very focused on music. Apple really had their renaissance, their comeback again. I don't know if renaissance is the right word, but I need to look up the definition. The point is that they had their comeback through the iPod. The iPod is what made me a lover of Apple devices. My first Apple device was an iPod. And it was because I was like, oh my gosh, this device is crazy. This device is extraordinary. So here it is. If you're watching the videos, you can see it's 160 gigabytes of music in your pocket. This thing was so incredible. When I bought it, I took pictures. It's so shiny. It's still shiny. I took this to work. The touch device on this was so incredible and intuitive that I was like, wow. So I had used someone else's, and I was very against Apple, and I used someone else's, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. This is so incredible. Then we were in New York City. I went to the Apple store, on Fifth Avenue or whatever, the big glass store, and I was like, we got to go to that. So I went in there, and that was when I first became an Apple fan, through music. This was my first device, my first Apple device. It's so incredible to think about. So the story is that I go into the Apple store, I understand the experience, and then I'm like, yes, this is how I need to model my business. So that's how I started modeling my business, off of Apple for the PC world, for that kind of world. Well, I was a tech sidekick for a while, and then I realized that I wanted a Mac. I realized that I wanted an iPad, and then I realized that I wanted a MacBook Pro, and then I realized that Microsoft can't even compete, and they never have. They've always been behind. So they just were able to scale better than Apple. And now Apple has been able to scale so significantly. And this is my intention. My intention is to take the best and spread it around. Put the bicycle of the mind in your hands. And listening to music gets you into things. It gets you to a new level of transformation. When you're working out, when you're listening to music, you can do things better. When you're working, you can do things better with music. I know people that just can't work on construction sites without music. They just want to die. So, that's significant. HomePod, AirPods, Apple Music can transform your digital home and lifestyle because of their wireless nature, because Apple has been an innovator in music. It wasn't just the iPod. It was iTunes. It was the whole experience. It was being able to buy music the way they did. They do an end-to-end experience unlike anything else. This device was incredible. 160 gigabytes in your pocket. It was unheard of. It was such a nice device. I can't say enough good things about it. And I hope you understand why Apple Music is what it is today. It's because it has the foundation of a long, rich history of music. And from what inspired Steve Jobs to help create Apple was music. So thank you for another episode of Apple Sidekick.